Welcome into our overtime segment today here on SportsSource.tv. We are happy to have you joining us here. I am joined by Chuck Cavaleris, Mike Griffith, Josh Ward, Bob Hodge. Overtime today brought to you by, and you see it right there, H&R Block, 865-938-2100. That particular number goes to the folks that I use, and that's the team at Callahan Drive in Knoxville, Lisa Atkins and her group. Literally, in terms of experience, in terms of qualifications, you're not going to find any better group than them. I use them for that reason, and they've been fantastic for more than a decade with me. H&R Block, Callahan Drive, Lisa Atkins and her crew, 865-938-2100. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about something I've noticed. Alvin Kamara has shot up the draft charts, and that's left more people talking about, more Vol fans talking about how Butch Jones blew it and didn't play him enough at Tennessee. Now, you can maybe, we did it in between the show and this. What game did it really cost you? He played at A&M, Kamara did, instead of Hurd. Alabama's not going to win that game for you. South Carolina was hurt. Vanderbilt he played and stepped out of bounds on that last drive. So I don't know that it's the greatest sin in Tennessee football history as some make it out to be. But because his draft stock is rising, a lot of people are saying, further proof that Butch didn't know what he was doing. So that leads to my question. You get 6 guys that were invited to the combine. You're going to have a number of people drafted this year for the first time in a long time that you've had multiple guys drafted. That shows how Butch Jones rebuilt the program. You cannot deny that. At the same time, if these guys rise in the draft higher than people thought, if these guys go on to have better pro careers than we think, will that actually work against Butch Jones? Silence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, it's going to, especially. I mean, you're talking the legions of the damned who don't like Butch Jones for anything he does. And if, let's say, Alvin Kamara next year is NFL Rookie of the Year. Let's say Josh Dobbs gets drafted in the 6th round and ends up playing some and has a good rookie year. People would look at that and damn Butch Jones with it. And I think it's completely, totally unfair, because if you look out through Tennessee's history, every college's history, there are players who underperformed or didn't perform as well in college, who then went to the NFL. When he came out, was anybody saying Tom Brady could end up being the best quarterback to play in the NFL in the history of the NFL? No.
Bill Polian apparently came out. Yeah, he had a first-round grade on him.
So
sorry, I hate Bill Polian.
I mean, this happens. It happens everywhere. It happens all the time. But for that percentage of people who hate Butch Jones, yes, this is another tool in the box.
David Martin was used against Philip Fulmer in the same way. Wasn't it Martin that went out, wasn't used here very much at all, and then had a pretty decent pro career?
Yeah, he wouldn't play tight end here, and then the NFL said, no, you're going to play tight end, and he played tight end and did well. But I think Arian Foster is an example of a guy that went undrafted and had some issues with the staff at Tennessee, and then goes on, and for a spell there, I'd say he was the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah, it happens all over the place. But, yes, I think it already has begun that you're seeing criticism from fans for how players are used, and it's really Alvin Kamara right now. But if Josh Dobbs, as Bob mentioned, if he's drafted, and we're starting to see maybe a boost to his stock as well, that fans will look back, even fans that were critical of Dobbs himself while he was at UT will then look back and say, why didn't we win more? And it's not to say that you can't look back and question some things, because at the time, early on in the season, I questioned, why isn't Alvin more involved in the offense?
Yeah.
We'll also recognize they were still winning those games, so it's okay. I think this is an example of where criticism can then go way over the top.
Yeah, and part when he was at Tennessee, Kamara wasn't part of that, not on the field at the same time with Hurd, or maybe not being able to
Put them out
motion
there
somebody.
together,
Yeah, I mean, that if you were going to use a criticism, I mean, I can still, that it was and still is valid. But you look, he might be drafted in the 1st round. And that, we know it's worse not to have anybody drafted, right? We've been through that at Tennessee. But to have someone drafted and then go on to him, it does make you wonder a little bit.
And I mean, I think you heard some of this when Josh Malone announced that he was going to come out and go to the NFL, because his first 2 years at UT were basically not very good. He didn't do much. Then he has a good, not great, but a good junior year, and he comes out, and that has people angry. That, okay, what did you do with him the first 2 years that he wasn't able to make more catches, make more big plays, and then his junior year he comes out, and now all of a sudden he looks to me like a player who could be a sleeper in the NFL, not be great, not be the next Julio Jones, but could be pretty good. So that's also some criticism.
I also think at this point, Butch is just at the point where there's a group that will use anything they can against him. You know, and all coaches get that at some point, but with Butch, there's a lot of them that are doing it. It's like, right now it's Trump. There are people who think everything he does is wrong. And other people say everything he does is right. Well, you know what? Neither group is right. And I'll let you lean whichever direction you want to go, but neither group is completely right. I think that Butch has some people that are just, I'm so far off the bus. If this is something I can use against him, I will use it against him. So congratulations, you got 6 people drafted. How come you didn't do more with them in college?
Sure. Well, he didn't get credit last year when you had guys, Alvin Kamara and Sutton, who are the ones that come to mind. They came back to play their senior years, and nobody said, hey, these guys could be out making money, even if it's minimal money, more money than they're making at UT. Probably could make more at Auburn. But they came back, and nobody gave him credit for that, for bringing these guys back. So he's just not getting credit, and he gets damned for everything.
You brought this up with Josh Malone, and I'm about to cough here. Josh Malone, and one of the things he said about leaving, one of the things he said about leaving was you're going to have to break in a new quarterback, and he didn't want to go through the growing pains at quarterback. How big of a red flag is that? I don't think there's anybody that's unaware of you breaking a new quarterback, bad things could happen. But how much do you take that as a red flag that he's seen these guys and he's saying, oh, I don't want to go through this? Is that a concern for anybody?
It would be for me. I mean, you would have thought he would want to come back and seize that opportunity to really showcase his skills and move up in the draft. I mean, that's what I think a lot of people would have looked at that saying, I've had a good year. Now, it's going to be a new quarterback. I'm going to be the go-to guy. I'm going to, catch more balls, score more touchdowns. Why wouldn't you want to come back for that?
Yeah, I wouldn't take it as too big of a red flag. I would view it as maybe kind of if Josh Malone and his family went through a checklist of items, why go pro, why come back to Tennessee? Obviously, the fact that you're changing quarterbacks would be why go pro. I think really Josh, the main reason he went pro, because he wanted to. He wanted to be a 3-year and done guy. That was a goal when he arrived at Tennessee. But I would say that comment might kind of balance out Cam Sutton calling Jarrett Garantano an amazing player. Don't get too hyped up based on Cam Sutton's positive comments. Don't worry too much
freak out
based on Josh Malone's comments.
Finish it out, Griff.
No, I would agree. I think Josh Malone's going pro because the money's there. He doesn't want to be a student athlete anymore. I think that sounds like agent talk to me, like, well, Josh, next year. And I do think that they're going to run the ball more, and I do think that having a new quarterback would have affected his numbers a little bit. He's healthy right now. Mm-hmm. He's seen other teammates that have gotten injured in Jalen Reeves-Maben that may have lost a little draft stock, or a Cam Sutton, right? So I think that this is a business decision. I wouldn't read too much into it.
I'm looking more at the from a UT standpoint. All that's good as to why I would go. Just wanted to put it out there that, as Josh said, may not be something to freak out over because he said that. I think everyone is aware. Again, we said it during the show. We said it last year. Butch Jones needs to have a good 2016 because 2017 you're going to be breaking in a new quarterback and have a lot of new guys. You're going to take a step back. So for Josh Malone to say that, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it's also a reminder of the unknown factor that is just there. You have a lot of change right now, and I know there were a lot of people that said, once Josh Dobbs leaves, we have a chance to go to an even higher level at quarterback. I think more realistically, you're going to look back and say, man, we'd like to have Josh Dobbs for one more year. Wish he could have redshirted one of those years. And Garantano could be great as a redshirt freshman, or Dormady might be great. But the chances that either one of those guys this year can duplicate what Josh Dobbs did this past year, good luck.
Agreed. All right. Thank you to these gentlemen. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We will see you next Sunday at 11 a.m. on WATE6 as we dive into week 1 of Tennessee spring practice. We'll have everything you could possibly imagine covered and more. Next Sunday, 11 o'clock, Channel 6. Thank you. Visit our sponsors. See you next week.